Welcome to 1,000 Ways to Heal. I would like to invite you onto the land with me this week, where I continue to share my personal journey of healing, inspired by my diverse heritage, aiming to encourage and support your healing journey to wellness and unity. The Chilcotin Nation is an Indigenous people residing in the region between the Fraser River and the Coast Mountains, specifically the Chilcotin Plateau. Their name translates to people of the river. They traditionally speak the Deneault language. It is estimated that 5,000 Chilcotin died in less than a year from settlers introducing the smallpox disease in 1862. The total native death toll from this disease in the following year was approximately 100,000, from a population estimated at 150 to 300,000. Several nations, the Chilcotin, Haida, Statliam, to name a few, lost 80% of their community population. This is one of the greatest human catastrophes ever on what we now call Canadian soil. Violence broke out in June 1862 as Chilcotin communities engaged these smallpox spreading parties. Ultimately, this violence culminated in a battle along the Butte Inlet corridor in April 1864. The ambush of Chilcotin war chiefs on their way to a peace conference with the governor in August 1864, and the mass hanging of the Chilcotin war chiefs for murder in October of the same year ended the conflict. Canadian historians teach that British Columbia's political transformation was orderly, with little resistance by the Indigenous nations, that the land was mostly an empty wilderness, so the Crown's failure to acquire any part of Indigenous title is relatively unimportant, that in British Columbia, Canada inherited a unique colonial legacy of respect, cooperation, and sharing between settlers and Indigenous people. This narrative suggests the original transfer of power was legitimate, and that Canada has a completely moral, just, and legal foundation in British Columbia. Native historians teach that this violence was a war of extermination and ethnic cleansing. The elders allege that settlers imported and spread smallpox to kill them, that British institutions were imposed only after this violent and massive depopulation. However, this spirit was carried through in confining Native access to natural resources and residential schools, and in every policy for eliminating Native communities as self-determining social entities. This narrative suggests the transition of political power at British Columbia's founding was illegitimate. Therefore, the ongoing status of Canada's occupation is debatable. Both narratives cannot be true. All issues concerning First Nations in British Columbia, from natural resource use through the educational curriculum, have roots in this transition. No one in Canada today can understand their true circumstance without first understanding which of these narratives is true. Remember, we heal when we walk together. I'm Ryan Deneault.